This is Mrs. Michael, and I'm reading Chapter 14 of Nothing But the Truth by Avi. Sunday, April 1st. Article from the community section of the Manchester Record. Suspended for Patriotism by J. Stewart, education reporter. Harrison. While it may appear to be an April Fool's Day joke, 10th grader Philip Malloy of Harrison High School was suspended for singing the Star-Spangled Banner. His parents, Susan and Benjamin Malloy of Harrison Township, do not consider themselves super patriots, but they did raise their son to have pride in our country. It was only natural, then, for Philip to sing along when the national anthem was played on tape during morning exercises. According to Harrison School Superintendent Dr. A. Seymour, there is no rule against singing the anthem. Indeed, in every other class, Philip did just that. His new homeroom teacher, Ms. Margaret Narwin, however, changed the rules. Every time Philip lifted his voice to sing, she threw him out of class, insisting a disturbance was being created. School principal Dr. Gertrude Doan, who admits that Philip has no previous bad marks on his record, saw the issue only as one of discipline and referred all questions regarding school policy to Dr. Joseph Peleny, assistant principal. Dr. Peleny, however, refused to be interviewed regarding the incident. What will young Malloy, who has his own delivery route for the Manchester Record, do during his suspension from school? Philip, who still hopes to make the school track team this spring, said, "Try to keep up with my work and work out with classmates after school." Harrison Township will be voting on a new school district budget this spring, along with a new school board. 8:30 a.m. Phone conversation. Dr. Albert Seymour and Dr. Gertrude Doan. Dr. Seymour. Gertrude? Dr. Doan. This is Gertrude Doan. Dr. Seymour. Gertrude, Al Seymour here. Did you see this morning's paper? Dr. Doan. Just reading the first section now. Dr. Seymour. Well, look at section D. Community news. Page 2. School news. Dr. Doan. Why? Dr. Seymour. Just do it. Dr. Doan. Hold on a moment. Dr. Seymour. Did you find it? Dr. Doan. Yes, and oh my. Dr. Seymour. Read it. Dr. Doan. This is ridiculous. Dr. Seymour. What is this business? I had a call from a reporter yesterday, but is any of this true? Dr. Doan. Al, the boy was not suspended because of singing the national anthem. Of course not. He was suspended because he was creating a disturbance. That's according to Joe. Dr. Seymour. Joe? Dr. Doan. Joe Peleny. Dr. Seymour. A disturbance by singing the Star-Spangled Banner? Dr. Doan. Yes, Joe handled it. Dr. Seymour. Who is this Narwin woman? Dr. Doan. An English teacher. She's been on the staff for years. Actually, longest of all, I think. A good teacher. Dr. Seymour. Oh, yes. Think I know her. And that's all there is to it? Dr. Doan. As far as I know. Dr. Seymour. Let's hope so. Dr. Doan. Al, no one could take this seriously. Dr. Seymour. I hope not. I hope not. With the budget vote soon and the school board. Dr. Doan. Do you want me to call the newspaper? Dr. Seymour. No. But if you get any calls, you can refer them all to me, to my office, tomorrow. Dr. Doan. I will. Dr. Seymour. This is not going to do us any good. Dr. Doan. No one reads about schools. Dr. Seymour. Let's hope so. 9:20 a.m. Phone conversation between Philip Malloy and Ken Barchett. Philip Malloy. What's happening? Ken Barchett. Did you see the paper? Philip Malloy. I deliver it. I don't have to read it. Ken Barchett. Guess what my ma found in it? Philip Malloy. What? Ken Barchett. It's all about you. Philip Malloy. Sure. April Fool. Ken Barchett. No, really. Look at section D. Page 2. A riot. Philip Malloy. Sure. Ken Barchett. It ain't true, but it's funny. We're working out? Philip Malloy. Have to visit my grandma at the nursing home. Ken Barchett. Make sure they don't lock you up. See you. Philip Malloy. Catch you later. Ken Barchett. Don't forget to look. Philip Malloy. April Fool. 9:50 a.m. Conversation between Philip Malloy's parents. Mrs. Malloy, look here, Ben, that reporter did put in a story about Philip. Mr. Malloy, you're kidding. Let me see. Mrs. Malloy, here. Mr. Malloy, I'll be. Mrs. Malloy, it's got the whole thing. Mr. Malloy, see, the superintendent says there's no such rule. It was just the teacher. Mrs. Malloy, doesn't seem right. Mr. Malloy, she should be fired. Philip upstairs? Mrs. Malloy, think so. Mr. Malloy, Philip, come on down here and look at this. Philip Malloy, what? Mrs. Malloy, this. Mr. Malloy, see, if you stick up for yourself, you get action. How's that make you feel? Philip, what do you think? Mrs. Malloy, what's the matter? Philip Malloy, I don't know. Mrs. Malloy, it was the teacher, just as you said. Philip Malloy, weird. Mr. Malloy, just shows you. Mrs. Malloy, where are you going? Philip Malloy, upstairs. Mrs. Malloy, we're leaving in a half an hour. Mr. Malloy, sometimes you just have to deal with things. Mrs. Malloy, he looked like he was reading his own funeral notice. Mr. Malloy, kids. Mrs. Malloy, well, anyway, you were right. Now maybe the boy can go back to school on Monday. Isn't it odd to see your name in the paper? Mr. Malloy, I sort of like it. Good if Dexter sees it. Mrs. Malloy, that Ted Griffin, he knows how to get things done. Mr. Malloy, got my vote. 2:30 p.m. Phone conversation between Margaret Narwin and her sister, Anita Wiggum. Margaret Narwin, I just don't understand why they would ever print such a thing. Anita Wiggum, that's the papers. Margaret Narwin, it's so slanted. Anita Wiggum, Peg, I don't think anybody will pay much attention to it. Just tell people the truth. Put your faith in that. Margaret Narwin, I suppose you're right. It's just... Anita Wiggum, it will pass. 7:30 p.m. from a speech delivered by Ted Griffin to a meeting of the Harrison Sunday Fellowship. Mr. Griffin, so what I will try to do, if elected as a member of the Harrison School Board, is not just keep the cost of education down to a reasonable level, keeping our taxes down. I will work with the rest of the board to support basic American values. For I, and I can only speak for myself, I am shocked that a Harrison student should be suspended from one of our schools because he desires to sing the national anthem. Yes, my friends, it is true. It has happened here. Here, in today's record, is the sad story. And I say, what is the point of installing computers, which my generation never seemed to need, and at great cost, if our young people are not allowed to practice the elemental values of American patriotism? 11:20 p.m. from the Diary of Philip Malloy. Folks excited, mostly Dad, by a newspaper story about what happened in school. Wonder what will happen now. Dad keeps telling me how great I am. Maybe they'll kick Miss Narwin out. Wonder if she even saw it. It's her fault, not mine. No one called. I guess I don't go to school tomorrow. Watched some track on TV. Steve Halleck lost a race, said he wasn't ready. Can't believe it. Finished The Outsiders. Not bad. Wonder what it would be like to live without parents. You could do what you'd like.